Happy Halloween and welcome to my first impressions to the anime King's Game. I figured that I should do some sort of Halloween series for, well, Halloween. And while I'm not sure if I'd call King's Game Halloweeny at all, even though that's not really a word, it has blood and people dying and whatnot, so it was the closest thing we had out of all of the shows that came out this fall season. When I was starting out this series, I expected to get something similar to Another. Well, it's mostly just a classroom of students kind of doing stupid things and randomly dying in really fancy accidents or whatever. Like, I know that that's not exactly the description of it, but I figured it'd be more or less that. And what I got was something more like Saw, where people are given a task and they'll try and complete it, or they won't be willing to, or like the first people will die because they don't really believe it. Like, it feels very Saw-esque as I was going into this series, which actually feels quite a bit different than what Another was doing, even if it is still just a bunch of students in the classroom probably doing stupid things and dying spectacularly. Although, unlike Another, where they felt like they spent a really large portion of the budget on people dying and like just making it look as explosive or unsettling as possible, it's very flat in this series, to be honest. Which might be a bit harsh to talk about people dying that way, but like, the budget on this series doesn't feel like it was that big, and even when that's true for these type of series, the death scenes usually get the majority of it, and even those felt largely flat while I was getting into the series. But the animation isn't what really bothered me the most this series. What I would say did bother me is that King's Game proved to me that they can tell a story, but they are not proving to me that they can tell the right story. Let me explain. Out of all of the characters that we've been introduced to so far, I would say that the 5 that have caught my interest the most would be Nobuaki, Naoya, Chiemi, Nami, and Ria. And if you have watched this series so far, you may notice something kind of important. 4 of these people are already dead. These 4 people are dead before the series even started. And that's because after the first episode, I'm currently 4 episodes in so far, the first episode is spent showing Nobuaki's new class and him kind of getting acquainted a little bit with people and the new King's Game starting. And then the next 3 episodes are flashbacks to his previous school, his previous class, and the last time he played the King's Game. And so far the show has given me almost no reason at all to care about his current class, but they have made his previous class look really interesting and dynamic, and like just a lot of the people there. And it showed me that they can actually do this story, but I already know the outcome. He flat out tells us in like the first or second episode that he was the only survivor from his previous class. And now I'm seeing what happened in his previous class, and I'm liking all of these characters, but like, I already know they all die, which softens that blow, but like the fact that I still actually like the characters despite knowing the outcome says a lot. Like, the show is actually good at building up these characters, but just not the right ones, because I feel like I should be caring about the ones who I'm not sure if they live or die yet, but I don't. And the reason, the 5th character who I mentioned who I liked is the main character, which is a good character to like. But the reason why I like him is because he actually is able to get stuff done. Like, sure, he whines a lot, and he starts out the series trying to get himself killed because he doesn't want to play the King's Game again. But as you're going through his flashbacks, you realize that he went really far to try and save all of his friends. And, like, he's not an idiot. Like, that's the biggest flaw in a lot of these horror series. And I call it a flaw, but it's something that kind of has to happen a lot of the time for the people to die, is that they're an idiot. And when he needs to get stuff done, he gets stuff done. When his friend was going to lose the ballot, well, the loser would get punished and probably die, he lied to his classmates saying that he knew a way out of the King's Game, but he would only tell them if they voted for him. And then they wouldn't be able to rat him out because they would be ratting themselves out that they changed the vote if they did. And like when the king told his best friend and his girlfriend have sex with each other, or else his best friend would die in 10 minutes, he grabbed them both by the arm, threw them both into a room, and said, "Go at it." And when his best friend protested, he opened up the door, slugged him in the face, and knocked him out, and told his girlfriend, "Go at it," and left the room. And, like, in most shows, you would not have a character be willing to do that. And, like, I'm not going to call him tactful, but it's effective. And that's what you need in a horror series, is a protagonist who is effective, who is actually willing to get stuff done. Now, it's not really a horror series, but it's still a bloody series. But this is the opposite of the old manga series, well, manga, light novel, everything, Battle Royale. Like, if you've never heard of it, it's literally the series which basically started the Battle Royale genre, and it's like 15 or 20 years old or something. But, like, I read that series, and I really didn't like the main character, because everyone else around him was better at getting stuff done than he was. And I feel like for a series like this, where you're fighting for your life, the character that you're rooting for has to be able to get stuff done. And that's why I like him. So, I like the protagonist, I like his old friends, but the show has given me absolutely nothing, okay, almost absolutely nothing to work with the new ones. His current class look like idiots. We have the girl who is psycho and switches her personality. And, like, I don't hate her because she's a jerk. I don't like her because she's bad at being a jerk. Like, usually whenever you have these characters who swap their personality on the fly, they're doing it because they want other people to believe they're a good person. But when she does her personality jump, she does it in front of the entire class. And no one should believe anything that she says anymore. And I feel like they're going to, because the main character left the class and she's kind of leading them now. And that just tells me that everyone else in the class is going to end up being an idiot. More or less. Well, like, in the past, more or less everything has happened as you would expect it. The first couple people didn't believe that the game was happening, and past that, everyone else is extremely, extremely desperate to get it done. Now, I'm not going to defend the fact of the girl jumping out the window for not wanting to die. That was stupid. But, like, the majority of the stuff that's happened in the past has made sense, while the stuff that happened in the present has not. And, like, there are two characters who you've been introduced to so far, besides the protagonist in the present, who look interesting, which would be the girl with the pigtails and the guy who has promised that he will protect her. And, like, if I had to name a 6th and 7th character I cared about, I guess it would be them, but my gut tells me they're not going to make it to the end of the day. But the fact that the show has only happened in, like, a 36-hour time span in the present, but, like, a week or more in the past, I think they're going to survive for 2 or 3 more episodes. We just aren't going to see them because they'll be taking up all this time in the flashbacks. And, like, I care about that story more than the present one. And that's where this series is going wrong. If the series can remedy this, if after they're finished with all of these flashbacks, they can actually flesh out the present cast of characters and not make them seem like idiots, I'll probably like this series more. But currently, I like the prequel better. So, that's all I really have to say on this series. Not sure if I would say how to recommend this or not. If you want to see your Goalfest edgy series of the season, it's definitely this one. But the animation is worse than usual for these. It's not awful, but like, it's not as good as you would normally see for this type of series. But with that out of the way, I hope you're enjoying the series if you are watching it. If you're not, then I don't think you're missing all that much. But I hope you have a good day. Hope you have a good Halloween. And peace.